Captain of the Moore High School soccer team, a 17-year-old student was shot and killed in the Newburgh neighborhood. It's our top story here at 6:30. I'm Alex Dieterer. LMPD says Dunia Tuhenya last Tuesday was shot and killed on Poplar Level Court. WHAS11's Clarice Shaley spoke to the family's church tonight on how their community is trying to move forward.
He was a very promising young man, really. I enjoyed seeing him growing.
Louisville's African refugee community continues to grieve the death of 17-year-old Moore High School student Dunia Tuhenya. Remembered as a go-getter and soccer captain, Dooney was getting ready for his senior year and learning how to drive. Dunia was shot at the Chateau Village apartments off Poplar Level Court almost 2 weeks ago. Dunia was found with multiple gunshot wounds to his torso. He was shot just a building over from where he lived.
Seeing his parents, how broken they were.
Kevin Oisenga is a pastor and mentor with C Forward Ministries who helps refugee families get acclimated to living in the city. He rushed to the hospital to be with the family after hearing the news, still in shock himself. A 15-year-old boy has been arrested and charged with Dooney's murder, but Oisenga says this doesn't make the pain easier.
It's not gun violence when you hear it all the time, but it hits different when it happens to somebody that you know well, and so so it's very worth us taking a look into this.
Now Oisenga has the task of acclimating Dooney's family to a life without him. In Bon Air, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 on your side.
The ministry has a GoFundMe started to help the family with funeral costs and moving out of that apartment. We have a link to that fundraiser on our website at WHAS11.com. New here at 6:30, 3 people are dead after a 2-vehicle crash in Breckinridge County last night. Kentucky State Police responded to the accident on Kentucky 261. Officers say 48-year-old Joseph Maynard was driving and then crossed the center line and struck another vehicle head-on, and that caused Maynard's car to go up in flames. Maynard died at the scene, and the driver of the other vehicle, 22-year-old Hunter Lyons, and a 1-year-old passenger also died at the scene. Another passenger in Lyons' car was taken to the hospital with injuries, but is expected to survive. Also new this evening, a man is severely injured after being hit by 2 cars last night. He was hit near the intersection of Shelbyville and Moser Road. LMPD officers say the man was crossing the road when he was hit by a car driving on Shelbyville Road. The driver stopped and stayed with the man. Other people then tried to help him, and that's when a second car hit the man. The driver of the second car also stopped after hitting him. The victim was taken to the University Hospital with severe injuries. LMPD's traffic unit is handling the investigation, which is still ongoing. And earlier this morning, there were 2 domestic violence shootings. The first shooting happened in the Phoenix neighborhood at the intersection of East Madison and South Shelby Street. When officers arrived, they found a house that had been damaged by gunshots, but no people were around. University Hospital notified officers that 2 adults showed up at the hospital with gunshot wounds. Officers learned the man and woman were related and got into an altercation. They were both shot but are expected to survive. And a woman is arrested after shooting a man. This happened near West Broadway and South 23rd Street. Officers found a man suffering from several gunshot wounds. That man was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. Officers say a man and woman got into a fight. Shots were fired, hitting the man. For both of these shootings, everyone is accounted for, according to officials. LMPD's domestic violence unit is handling both investigations. Well, another day, another heat advisory, and another hot and humid day across Kentuckiana today. Meteorologist Julie Martin joins us now from the Weather Center. And Julie, looking ahead to the week ahead of us, all I'm seeing right now is hot temperatures.
Very hot, very humid, Alex. In fact, we will be under that heat advisory through Wednesday, at least, of this week. Right now, the storms are staying away from us. You'll notice some of them off to the north and southern Indiana here. Maybe a couple of pop-up storms here or there, but other than that, not going to have much action over the next couple of days in terms of the precipitation. It's all going to be about the heat. And when I say heat, I'm talking triple-digit feels-like temperatures over the next several days. So right now we're at 92 here in Louisville. We made it up to 93 today, which is still a little bit far off from making our record, but that feels like temperature 101, and get used to it. That's what we'll be dealing with again, at least through the first part of this week. Not a lot of opportunity to cool off at night either. Temperatures dropping down into the high 70s as we head off to bed. So very tough on the body to take this kind of heat, especially if you're working outside. You do want to have a way to get to a cool space, at least for part of the day or the evening. With these prolonged heat waves, it can be very, very tough on the body. We are in for a pattern change, though. That's going to come up by the time we get into the latter part of the week. I'll detail that in your full forecast coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, thank you, Julie. Division between Republican lawmakers over the Jeffrey Epstein files continues to intensify. Signs of pressure to respond to calls for transparency appeared last week. Kentucky Republican Representative Thomas Massey said he stands with Democratic Representative Ro Khanna's calls to subpoena Jeffrey Epstein's estate for documents related to his case. Massey and Khanna's joint legislation would force a House vote on the release of the Epstein files in the Justice Department's possession. However, Speaker Mike Johnson sent the House out for August recess a day early. And today, Massey criticized the move, saying it was to avoid having to hold votes on releasing files related to Epstein. Massey and Khanna are seeking a discharge petition, which with 218 votes from House members would bypass Johnson. Johnson has been saying he is calling for transparency, but Massey predicts the pressure to hold a vote would only increase during the break.
They're hiding behind that we're trying to get justice for the victims and transparency for America. And so, we've redacted things before. We don't want to hurt the victims. We're doing this for the victims. I think it's just something that they're hiding behind.
Massey said Republicans would lose their slim majority in the midterm elections next year if they did not take a vote on releasing the files.